Hey, going along with the crowd, right? I just met a gentleman and he said, well, he's just following orders. Well, he said he's just following what he was told. And I said, like, just following orders? And he goes, well, kinda. And I said, if everybody was walking off the cliff, would you go? And he said, sadly, probably. And I remember the days where I was parking in the underground parking garage in downtown Toronto, the financial district, and I was walking along with the crowds coming out from the garage. We were all, robotically, energetically, moving to the offices, distributing. I was going to whoever I had a meeting with. And I was loving that at that time, right? I was like in the flow. That was where I was supposed to be, in the thick of the business area. And I was very much in that space. And when you're like a sardine and you're packed in, you're in community, right? And people are in groups, and we want to be in groups. Schools of fish, herds of sheep. Every animal has a pretty much a grouping. And then there's things called like the lone wolf. And many of the lone wolves or the black sheep have all sort of found each other in different ways right now, because what's going on in the world and the breakdown of what they see makes sense to them. It's always never made sense the way the rest of the sardines and the way I was in the robotic sense of this is what I need to do, just do it. And to open your eyes and to see things differently and to go and try and find another group, sometimes it might feel right and sometimes it might not, right? And sometimes there's some things that work that way and sometimes it don't. And source, consciousness, God, creator, if you believe it, is actually running the show. So it knows where each person needs to be in each place. And we are one big whole. We are one big, great whole. And each of us has a place in that whole. So the liver is different than the heart, right? The sheep are different than the geese, right? They're all part of the whole. And if we start to see each other as part of the whole, like the whole unity, then we start to respect that everybody has a different role. And that sometimes having an experience like I did when I was very much in the business world and I thought this is so exciting, then after a while, it wasn't so much exciting. And after a while, I started to see manipulation and I started to see things that didn't jive with my inner core. And from that experience, I got to sort of step out because I was making all this money, but I was really sick on the inside. And so some of those people are confronted with that right now. They have a secure job. They're in a monk group, whether it's the medical professionals or the police officers or the lawyers, the nurses, the teachers. Yet they might be that thing that was happening with me back in my 20s that it just doesn't quite feel right. So I know it took a huge amount of courage for me to step out and say, I gotta take care of me. I got to take a break. I got to decide what's true for me. And for me, it meant I had to take off to Eastern and Southern Africa for 4 months. That's what I needed to do. And everybody has the guidance within them. So if you're feeling you're being pulled away from something that seems very secure, very familiar, and you're concerned that how's it going to work out? That's faith, that's trust, that's trusting the whole, this whole essence of everything, right? Like this so-called air, I can't see it, but it's here and I breathe it, and that's what I supposedly gives me life. The ocean, the presence is always there, it shifts the way it looks. So when you can trust that we're all unified, when we're all unified, and we're all working towards a greater whole, which is freedom, to love and support each other and have the compassion and comprehension that everybody's dealing with their shit, their own inner shit. And they could be projecting it totally on you. You could be projecting it on yourself. Because ultimately it is all. It's like a hologram. You rip apart, you're still part of that whole. So finding here yourself, your heart, is really your community. It's really truly when you discover what's inside you, you realize whoever you come across is a part of that experience. And you realize that concept of loving each other as thy neighbor. You love each other. You may not like what they're doing or saying or how they're treating you. And you can say, no, stop, draw a boundary, I'm turning away. But the sense of love and appreciation for their role in that moment in time is a whole other vibe. That's being awake. So you might be waking up to all the deception that we have been taught about our systems and structures. You may realize that you're no longer a person and you're a living, breathing woman, man, or child. And you may realize they're teaching you that you are a person residing in a certain place, which means you're a thing that's got a location. If you're a living, breathing woman, man, or child, you're living on the land. And law is land, air, water. And God gave you, Creator, gave you that jurisdiction. So when you know who you are and you know what life is about, you're awake and understanding all you're doing is helping people move from this fictitious system that was created on paper out of false sense of security, out of just going along because you think, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to survive if I'm out of that system. But that system is within the whole. And that system is being transformed like caterpillar to butterfly. And when you can hold the light like the lighthouse and say, hey, it's going to be fine. Okay, greater picture, awake, you can see both sides of the coin. Okay, because you're the whole. Then those that see it as the whole gravitate towards you. Those that are still on one hot side of the coin and holding on and attached to their perspective to absolutely, then it limits it. So I do see, my perception is that everything is working for everyone. Do I know how it's all going to play out? Do I know what's best for everybody? No. Your inner guidance does, though. And if you need help developing that and tuning into that, grab a copy of my book, Trusting Your Intuition, Discover Your Superpower in 10 Days. Learn how important it is to tune in. Learn what your body is telling you. Day 2, body barometer. If you've yet to master your body's your barometer, then of course you're looking out there saying, well, whatever you tell me to do, what are you doing? Because you've forgotten that here is sovereignty. Here is God source consciousness. Here is life. Living, breathing man, woman, child, born out. Born before you were given a name, before you were given an identification and put into a system that you then believed and were educated in and hypnotized in and led through like a rat. And you think you had free will because you were making choices. And now it's a whole other space and time. You're realizing, I can surrender to the process and the magic is in the moment. So I know my heart's desires are coming true. It's the experience of the experience and noticing what I'm noticing, and that's the journey of life. So your community, your group, your tribe, whatever is here within you. And when you can love and appreciate you for you and honor you for you, then you'll magically see people appear and come and go, and you know whoever they are and whatever they're doing, they are part of your experience and part of the unity of the whole. You are source consciousness being expressed individually, uniquely through you, a living, breathing woman, man, child. Be it.